All men are not created equal. This was the reality I learned at the young age of 4. The people you look up to aren't always who you thought they were. This was the reality I learned at the age of 10. Now going back to my first point, all men aren't created equal. Well, it's true. After all, throughout heaven and earth, I alone am the honored one. My name is Midoriya Izuku, the chosen successor of Gojo Satoru. My dreams were crushed not once, but twice before I was even in middle school. Once, when I was told that I was quirkless, in a world full of people with quirks. And twice, when the person I looked up to most told me that I could never become a hero. It was as if everything were pointing towards me never fulfilling my dream. Even my childhood friend, Kachan. Well, he wasn't much of a friend back then, but still. One man proved them all wrong. Or rather, one man helped me prove them all wrong. It's fine now. Why? Because I am here. He's so cool. When I get my quirk, I wanna be like him too. You should probably give it up. I'm so sorry, Izuku. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you wanna be a hero that badly, there's a quick way to do it. Hope that you'll be born with a quirk in your next life, and take a swan dive off the roof. I cannot simply say that one can become a hero, even without power. I'm sorry. But you also have to consider what's realistic. What are you talking about, Izuku? You can become a hero. In a world full of people with quirks, I was born quirkless. I was part of the unlucky 20%. I was told to give it up and that I'd never make it, and part of me almost caved in. But when I watched All Might saving people with that unbreakable smile over and over again, I couldn't just stop. I didn't want to. So I did what I could. I studied up on all sorts of heroes, aiming to become the first quirkless student at UA, the same school my hero went to. I didn't let Kachan and his bullying get to me, no matter how bad it got. First, let me tell you about the day I stumbled upon the number 1 hero, All Might. Shoe size is. 10-year-old Izuku knelt down, scaling the imprint with a measuring tape. 26.5 centimeters. He scribbled the information down in his notebook. Because of the quirk of the molten hero, Magma, the man's footprint was imprinted into the cement. A fight between him and a villain had broken out a few weeks ago, and Izuku was there to gather information on it. Damn it. That poisonous bastard really got me. Toshinori Yagi thought to himself as he staggered through the city of Musudafu. In the alleyway behind Izuku, a battered-up All Might suddenly walked out, coughing. They were both silent for a moment as their eyes met, wide with surprise. What are you? All Might. Izuku dropped his notebook. You're All Might. Oh my god, Shish. I don't want to draw a crowd. The blonde man raised a finger to his lips. Oh, sorry. I've just always wanted to meet you. Toshinori wasn't sure how to get the boy away from the scene before Toxic Cloud, the name of the poisonous gas villain, showed up again. Or perhaps worse, if he accidentally reverted back to his other form. Do you want an autograph? I don't have much time. Yes. Yes, absolutely. All Might signed his name in Izuku's notebook, who then proceeded to handle the object like a delicate bomb. I'm going to make this my family heirloom. Alright, well I have to go now, so. Wait. I have a question for you. Toshinori coughed into his fist again. I'm really sorry, but if I don't, he was suddenly engulfed smoke, inciting a few coughs from both of them. Once it cleared, Izuku's jaw dropped. The tall, burly All Might had been replaced with the skinny, zombie-like Toshinori Yagi. What Toshinori sighed. Shit. There goes another person who knows about my other form. You can't tell anyone about this, okay? Izuku gaped at him for a few more moments before straightening. I won't. But you. What happened? You are All Might, right? Toshinori went on to explain his condition to the boy, all while keeping an eye out for Toxic Cloud. Izuku swallowed nervously. This is hard to absorb, but he's still the symbol of peace, even if he can only maintain it for 3 hours. I'm going to have to trust this young boy to keep my secret, not that I have much of a choice. Did you have something you wanted to ask me? Oh, right. The butterflies in his stomach went even crazier as he summoned the nerve to ask his role model the question he'd been waiting to ask for over 6 years. Do you think that even a quirkless person like me can become a hero? He's quirkless. Just like. Toshinori felt bad for the boy as he looked up at him with hopeful green eyes. I can't let him lead a meaningless life. If this boy seriously tries to become a pro hero, he won't make it. That's the sad truth of this world. Young boy. Without a quirk, you're better off becoming a police officer if you want to help people. I cannot simply say that one can become a hero, even without power. I'm sorry. But you also have to consider what's realistic. After hearing those words, something cracked inside of Midoriya. Throughout the years, it stayed broken, even after he met Gojo Satoru. Or rather, the spirit of Gojo Satoru. That night, Midoriya lied awake in bed, staring at the ceiling. Right. I should have known. I don't have a quirk. There's nothing special about me. How could I? Tears welled up in his eyes. How could I ever even dream of being a hero? By the time he fell asleep, it was almost morning. This boy's spirit. It's so bright. How unusual. It reminds me of Yuji. Gojo Satoru grinned, placing a finger to his chin. Maybe he's the one. Midoriya suddenly gasped, sitting up. Where am I? He stood up, looking around the strange place. He couldn't quite describe it. It was like being in a dark, unexplainable wonderland, if it had a crossover with the universe. Despite not being able to see or feel the ground, he could stand upright and walk just fine. What a strange lucid dream. He tried to change the setting, with no luck. I can't wake up either. What a nightmare, he thought as he wandered around. His eyes widened. Oh no, am I in a coma or something? The sudden sound of laughter scared Midoriya to the bone. You're not in a coma, don't worry. A young man suddenly appeared in front of him, wearing a dark leather suit. He had soft-looking stark white hair and unusually bright blue eyes, like all of the morning sky condensed into one point. Midoriya also noted that he was incredibly good-looking, especially with those brilliant eyes of his. For some reason, he felt like the man was much older than he looked. But if he ignored that, he looked to be in his early 20s or so. Who are you? My name is Gojo Satoru. And you? Midoriya Izuku. Are you part of my dream? No. Well, kind of. What do you mean? We're inside of my domain while in your dream. Like a yolk in an egg. None of our real bodies are here, these are our spiritual manifestations. I don't understand. Is this your quirk? What are your intentions? Are you a villain? Slow down, no, this isn't the effect of a quirk. I don't have one, anyway. My intentions are rather complicated, but I promise they aren't bad. And I'm pretty much the opposite of a villain, if I say so myself. He's quirkless, like me. Then how are you doing this? It all feels way too real to be a simple dream. It's my jujutsu, limitless. An application of it, at least. Jujutsu. Like the martial art. Does he do karate? Gojo suppressed another laugh. To put it in very simple terms, they're the quirks of my world. Your world? Yep, I'm not from your world. I came from a completely different universe. Midoriya let out a nervous laugh. A different universe? No way. That's not possible. This has to be some kind of bad joke. Oh, but it is. Izuku, I'm dead. I died a while ago in my world. For reference, I was the strongest. Obviously, I wasn't just gonna go poof with all my abilities. Someone needed to inherit them. To take on the burden of the strongest. Midoriya swallowed. Where is this going? I tried a few promising-looking people. I remember one with a straw hat, one bubbly kid with a fishing pole, and one with ginger hair. Her eyes were green like yours. What are you trying to say? It's your turn, Izuku. I'm seeing if you're worthy or not of inheriting my power. Inheriting your power, that's crazy. I'm not even. You're not even what? Slowly, Midoriya looked down. I'm not even worthy enough for All Might. The number one hero. I even got to ask him personally, but he was right. Someone like me can't become a hero. Ah. What am I doing, spilling my life story to this stranger? Gojo leaned down, looking Midoriya in the eye, who was startled by the sudden gesture. Since we're in your head and all, I can see what kind of person you are. And in my book, you're more than worthy. That's coming from the strongest jujutsu sorcerer. Midoriya laughed nervously, though it was more of a miserable one. Me. A hero. It's true that I've always wanted to be one, but I just can't. You're better off picking someone stronger, Gojo-san. I can't even stand up for myself when it comes to Kaken's bullying. How am I supposed to save people if I can't even save myself? What are you talking about, Izuku? You can become a hero. 23 Chapter 2. You can become a hero. For some reason, Midoriya couldn't bring himself to speak as he absorbed those words. Has anyone ever said that to me before? He was stunned silent for a moment before blushing a bit, momentarily forgetting about his bizarre situation. That's right. Back then, I didn't want my mom to apologize. I wanted to hear those words from her. You really think so? Definitely. I haven't seen a soul as bright as yours in a long time. Oh. Thank you. I mean, we're getting off topic. Midoriya straightened, trying to make a more serious face. How can I even trust you? Well, that's up to you. I can't force you to accept my power or anything. But we're practically sharing minds right now, so what do you think? Midoriya sighed and closed his eyes, trying to focus on the other man. He tensed. What are these? Words no, feelings filling up my head. God. Power. Strength. Infinite. Cunning. Bright. Lighthearted. Caring. Midoriya opened his eyes. Inexplicably, he suddenly knew exactly what kind of person Gojo Satoru was. How? I've only known him for like 10 minutes. And yet. Well. The man asked. He's been smiling this whole time. He never once frowned or raised his voice. He's so. What's the word? I trust you. So what even is your power? And how do I pass this test you mentioned? Gojo grinned. You already passed. Wait, what? But I didn't even do anything. Let me explain, my pupil. Right now, we're in my domain, unlimited void. Normally, a human being would be frozen in place, unable to move at all. You woke up and walked around like it was nothing. He gaped at him. Moving was the test. Basically, yeah. Midoriya took an experimental step forwards. But this just feels like normal walking. Are you bluffing? Of course not. Want me to kidnap someone to show you? Midoriya sweet dropped. Ah. No thanks, I'm good. Izuku. Is that? Looks like your mother is trying to wake you up. You have. Gojo checked his non-existent watch. 15 minutes before school starts. Midoriya shot up. What? Oh, Izuku. You hardly ever sleep in, so I thought never mind, school starts in 15 minutes, Inko said, looking at her son worriedly. Mom. I already made some toast downstairs, hurry up and get changed, she said, leaving the room. Midoriya placed a hand on his forehead, frowning. Oh. It was a dream after all. He sighed, getting out of bed. I should have known. There's no way I would be that lucky, getting powers for free. It wasn't a dream. Hey. He dropped his backpack, looking to his right. Gojo Satoru was leaning against the wall, arms crossed. Go Gojo-san. He looks kind of transparent, he absent-mindedly noted. You better hurry, there's 10 minutes left on the clock. What are you? I have to go. Midoriya grabbed a slice of toast on the way out, barely remembering to put his shoes on. Have a nice day, sweetie. Stay away from villain attacks. Have a nice day, sweetie. Stay away from villain attacks. Gojo imitated. Such a caring mom. Get her something nice for Mother's Day. He floated next to Midoriya, arms behind his head. Gojo-san, are you real? My mom didn't even notice you, Midoriya asked as he ran, attempting to wave a hand through the man's body. His arm went right through. I'm just a spirit, everything passes through me. And since you're my new host, you're the only one who can see and hear me. Oh, so that's why he looks transparent. Host of my power. Midoriya stopped at a crosswalk, waiting for the walking light to turn green while jogging in place. Gojo hovered upside down. You're gonna be late. Midoriya made a gloomy expression. Don't remind me. This is totally going on my permanent record. Oh, this is the perfect time to test out your new powers. Midoriya nearly tripped on the road. My what? Your powers. Since you passed, I gave you my dormant abilities. So. There's no weird ritual or anything that we have to do. No summoning circles or ancient markings or foreign chants. No, what kind of fantasy series have you been reading? Shado wait, besides that, how do I use them? They came to a stop next to an empty alleyway. Gojo floated down to ground level, standing in front of Midoriya. Listen closely, Izuku. Right now, despite having access to all of my previous abilities, you have no idea what they are, what they do, and how to use them. He held his index finger up. I'll have you know that they are powerful beyond your imagination. If you had full knowledge on how to use them, you might be the most powerful person on this earth. So you have to be incredibly cautious when using them. That's also another reason why I chose you. I had a feeling you would be careful, and that you would only use them for good. So don't pull an Anakin on me and turn to the dark side, okay? I would never. My goal in the first place is to become a hero to help people. Midoriya said, flustered. The most powerful person on Earth. No way. Gojo-san was that strong. Well, that's good to know. Anyway, moving on to your powers, there are two types. Limitless and Six Eyes. I'll teach you about them later, but for now, we just need long-distance teleportation. There's two of them. Midoriya couldn't help but get excited. You can teleport. Among others, yes. It's one of the applications of Limitless, and deals with spatial manipulation. If you train enough, you'll be able to teleport other people too. Basically, just focus on where you want to go, and stay focused on that location. Otherwise, you might end up somewhere completely random. Once, I ended up in the middle of Greece. And if you want it to be somewhere specific, make sure you include that, otherwise you might appear in a toilet. And stay on the ground unless you want to fall from 400 feet in the air. Gojo gave him a thumbs up. Good luck. Midoriya gulped. Alright. He closed his eyes, nervous. Aldera Elementary School. Aldera Elementary School. He pictured the familiar brick walls, the hallways, the wooden doors, not the bathrooms, the dirt pathway, the familiar path to get there. Midoriya opened his eyes upon feeling a strange, light sensation, screaming when he saw nothing but space around him. But no sound came out. A split second later, he felt solid ground again, and looked around to see the pastry shop in front of him. I'm back. Oh, so close. At least you managed to teleport, Gojo said from behind him. Midoriya whipped around. Did you see that? We were just next to the other street. That's teleportation. It might seem like a few moments to us, but to the outside world, it was barely even a second. But this is the pastry shop a few blocks away from my school. You probably lost track of your thoughts. Try again. Midoriya took a deep breath, focusing on the gates right outside of the school. It took a few tries to get it right again, but he went through the weird dark space once more before appearing at the exact place he was thinking of. Thankfully, none of the people, or another student, God forbid, walking by saw him. He held his hands up in awe. This is amazing. I have a quirk. He couldn't describe the happiness flowing through him. With this, I can become a hero. Gojo floated in the air, arms crossed. It's actually jujutsu rather than a quirk, but call it whatever you want. Also, isn't that the bell? Midoriya froze before sprinting past the gates. I completely forgot about school. I'm late. Behind him, Gojo began to laugh. I can't believe someone who can teleport is late. I just learned how to, okay. Midoriya protested as he ran upstairs. After school, the two got to know each other more as they chatted on the way home, and Midoriya couldn't help but feel warm. Shortly after reaching his classroom, Midoriya was overtaken by a wave of exhaustion, as if he'd just ran a marathon. It's a side effect of teleporting, Gojo had explained. The better you get at it, the less exhaustion you'll feel. And thus, he decided not to try teleporting home as to not drain himself. I don't know much about him, but I trust Gojo-san. I have a feeling he's not a bad person. Plus, he gifted me with these amazing abilities, which I can use to become a hero and help people. I must be the luckiest person alive. Welcome home, Izuku. How was school? School was great. I made a friend today. Inko smiled. You made a friend. You'll have to invite them over someday. Yeah, maybe one day. Behind him, Gojo laughed. Tell her I'm right in front of her. Midoriya sweet dropped. She'll think I'm crazy if I do that. He headed upstairs, Gojo following him while talking excitedly about sundae and cream-flavored kifuku. Bright. The word is bright. Kind, carefree, friendly, charming, someone who can attract all kinds of people like a magnet and strike up a conversation about pencils or something and still manage to make it sound interesting. It's almost funny he's basically the opposite of me. Gojo Satoru is bright. 23 Chapter 3. What's that? Oh, it's just my homework from last night. Hey. 5th graders are dealing with this stuff already. Man, I hate fractions. They're actually not that bad once you. Bakugo Katsuki suddenly slammed his hand on Midoriya's desk, palm smoking. Ka-ka-chan. The papers flew up in the air, falling onto the floor. The blonde looked down at him with an irritated look in his eyes as Midoriya shrank back in fear. Who the hell have you been muttering to this whole time? It's annoying. And no one, just myself. Well then knock it off, it's getting on my nerves. He sauntered back to his desk as the bell rang, a glare remaining on his face. What a bad personality. Who's that? Gojo asked. That's Kachan. He's my childhood friend. Midoriya spoke in a hushed tone as to not annoy Bakugo again. That guy is your friend. Well, we used to be friends. I think. Our relationship is complicated. The teacher walked in, signaling the start of class. Midoriya collected the fallen papers into a neat pile. You shouldn't let him push you around like that, Gojo said, floating above him. I know, but Izuku-kun, do you have something you want to share with the rest of the class? The teacher asked. Midoriya shot up, shaking his head. No, sir. Sorry. The other students laughed as he sat back down with a tomato-red face. Midoriya sighed, hefting his backpack over his shoulder. Finally, school is over. Maybe I'll get some of that kifuku Gojo-san recommended. And then that's when I entered the room, completely. Gojo was cut off by a loud cry of protest, drawing both of their attention towards the side of the school building. Why are you crying? I thought you wanted to become a hero. Heroes don't cry, you know. Midoriya paled. That's Kaken's voice. Are they bullying someone? I have to stop them. But what can I do? Kachan is. He's so much stronger than me. Gojo watched as Midoriya froze in place, like a deer in headlights. I'm curious to see what he'll do. I want to help, but the fear. Midoriya swallowed. I can't help it. He began to run. Not away, but towards the scene. Kachan. He yelled as he skidded to a stop in front of them. Oh crap, there's 3 of them. Bakugo was holding a student by the collar, about to punch him in the face. Midoriya almost reeled at the sight of the poor boy's bruised and bloody face. He even had a few minor burn marks, definitely from Bakugo's quirk. Why did they go so far? What the hell do you want, Deku? Get out of here unless you want to become my punching bag too. And don't you dare say a word to the teachers. I can't do that. Why are you hurting him? He didn't do anything to you. Hey, this brat thought that he could boss me around. He went up to me and said that I wasn't worthy of becoming a pro hero. Of course, as the future #1 hero, it's my job to punish liars. Midoriya nervously frowned. That kid is totally right though. Oh, time's up. I gave you a chance, but it's too late now, he said as his two goons grabbed Izuku's arms from behind. Hey, what are you doing? He was filled with an all too familiar fear as Bakugo approached him, hands smoking. As promised. Midoriya lost his ability to breathe for a moment as he suddenly received a punch to the gut. Hey, let me go at him too. Look at this loser, he's already crying. That night, Midoriya got home an hour late. He lied to Inko and ensured her that he'd just fallen down the stairs at school. Sullenly, he dropped his backpack on the floor of his room and began to disinfect the wounds. So you sacrificed yourself to save that kid? I wouldn't say sacrifice, but... Midoriya applied the last bandage, eyes dark. I'm just glad he got away. Why? He was a stranger. It doesn't matter who he was. But I know that he tried to tell Kachan the right thing. He had more courage than I ever did. And you're okay with this? Of course I'm not. I want Kachan to stop, I want him to use his power for good. But I'm just not strong enough. Yet. He plopped down on his bed. I'm used to his antics. I know they're horrible. So one day, when I have enough courage, I'm going to make sure he never abuses his power again. Gojo gave him a hint of a smile. Just when he thought the man was about to say something heartfelt, he said, 7 out of 10. Midoriya lost his posture. Why are you rating my response? And why is it so low? He laughed. Not bad, Izuku. I'm just glad you stood up for that boy in the first place. It looks like you're better at that when it comes to other people rather than yourself. He leaned down. You're strong, Izuku. Even without my power. You just need to realize that. Midoriya gave him a small smile. Gojo-san. Straighten up, my pupil. Starting tomorrow, you'll receive strict jujutsu training from me. Midoriya stood up and saluted. Yes, Gojo-sensei. Satoru faltered for a moment at his response. Right after, Midoriya was called down for dinner, leaving the man alone in his room. Gojo. Sensei, huh? He smiled, remembering those three. That sure brings back memories. Midoriya gaped at the mountains of trash. It seemed to stretch on forever from where he stood. You want me to clear out this entire beach? Gojo nodded. It'll serve as a decent warm-up. After all, we have to train your body physically first in order to take on even half of my power. A decent warm-up. But I teleported just fine yesterday. You barely managed to teleport, which is impressive by itself for someone who just received that power. But it was only for a very short distance, and you almost threw up afterwards. You also almost fell asleep from exhaustion. Remember. That means your mental and physical states are too weak to handle even one of the easiest techniques. Midoriya sweet-dropped. And I thought I was doing pretty well. He gazed at the heaps of trash. I mean, where do I even start? Good idea. How about that fridge over there? A fridge. I'm only 10 years old. There's no way it'll budge. Izuku spent the rest of his Saturday cleaning up piles of trash off the beach, preserving mostly because of the help and threats from Gojo. Welcome home, Izuku. Where were you all day? The gym. Inko asked jokingly as her son took his sneakers off, drenched in sweat. He laughed nervously. Yeah, something like that. What's for dinner? Curry rice. I'm starving. I can't wait to take a shower and go to bed. I could collapse right here and fall asleep. He followed his mother to the dining room. Well, at least I have Sunday off. Oh, and Izuku, we're going back tomorrow, 6 a.m. sharp. Every other weekend too. What? Inko jumped. Oh gosh, what's wrong, Izuku? You scared me half to death. He held his hands up. It's nothing. I stepped on something sharp. I'm fine though, he reassured her. Oh. Well, make sure your foot is okay, it could have been glass. As she went to prepare the curry, Midoriya sighed. Gojo-sensei, what do you mean every weekend? I almost died just from today. I swear I saw the light on our way home. How will I survive if I have to do that every weekend? He hissed. Gojo chuckled. Don't worry, you'll get used to it. By next month, it'll be like a daily routine. I'll be dead by then. I'll be a ghost like you. Oh, stop fretting, you'll be fine. I picked you for a reason. I picked you for a reason. Midoriya flushed slightly, hesitating. Well, if you really think so. Izuku honey, who are you talking to? Ah, no one. Just myself. The following day, Midoriya left a note on the table, telling Inko that he was out for a morning jog. So, Gojo-sensei. He almost dropped the broken microwave on his feet, grunting when it nearly slipped out of his gloved hands. As a ghost, can you perform paranormal activity? Like making things float or changing the radio? Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, I can't. Believe me, I've tried, but I might as well be plain old air. Satoru was quite bummed out because of that. He'd always thought that it would be fun to haunt random people and levitate their silverware or something. With a huff, Midoriya took a break and placed the microwave down. So you don't get hungry or have to use the bathroom or anything? Nope. That sounds like a boring life. You're probably thinking, that sounds like a boring life, right? Hey, how did he know? Is he a psychic too? I'm not a psychic, you're just pretty easy to read. He did it again. And, is that an insult? But, Gojo looked up at the bright morning sky, the same color as his eyes. After several days, Midoriya still wasn't quite used to them. You're right. It does get boring. It feels like I don't exist. He laughed. Which I don't, except to you. Izuku gazed at him. That's right. I can't believe I didn't realize it before. Gojo-sensei has been wandering around dimensions for who knows how long, looking for the right successor. He's probably lonely beyond my imagination. I can't believe he hasn't gone insane. You're really strong, Gojo-sensei. Yeah, I know. But where'd that come from? Never mind. I'm really glad I have you here to guide me. Gojo paused before smiling. You're weird. I like you, Izuku. You're like Yuji, if he was more reserved. Who's Yuji? That's a story for another time.